I'm Richard Grace from Alan and Heath, looking at the Xone DX with the new edition of Serato ITCH. The principle of the Xone DX and Serato is that it's seamless integration of the software and the hardware. ITCH is now a 4-deck system with effects. So essentially we've got 4 decks, 2 effects units, and the DX is laid out as a 4-channel mixer, and then we have 2 dual layer deck simulators. So that's deck 1, deck 2, and on the other side we have deck 3 and deck 4. This is represented in software and also in hardware. When you switch, your cue lights flash to let you know which channel you're actually going to affect with your deck. In the centre section we've got our browsing, so we can go up and down between our tracks, load a track into a deck, cue our track up, press play. Everything within this deck surround is relative to that deck. So we have an auto looper, we can adjust the length of our auto loop here and punch it in. We can hot change the size of the loop. We've got a roll feature where we push and turn, then as soon as you release, lose the loop. We can punch in and out manually. We can move our loop along the audio track. If we punch it in and out manually and we want to be able to just trim the start and end points of the loops, I hit my in point, you see the waveform stops. Use my jog wheel now to get to the exact point I want. Then to my out point, and I can trim up again using my jog wheel. And away we go. We've got 2 effects units, the top FX1 and FX2. They're assigned to the channel with these buttons here. So basically to load an effect, we select the effects, you see that the software lights up blue there. Choose my effect, press the encoder, that now loads it. Turn my effect on, and assign it to the channel. Then I've got my depth, my modulation and my X control, and then the time derivative of that control, because it's all beat matched.
So are these effects specifically for Alan and Heath?
They are effects that Serato are now provided. I think also with the best unit, that's now got effects as well.
Okay.
But I think they're collective whole.
So these don't reflect Alan and Heath's classic filters and things like that?
No, not currently, because we've just provided a controller, so there's no analog filters actually on the unit itself. And basically everything we now do, this is all relative to deck A. You see I've still got that loop going. If I swap layers, you'll see I've dropped down to the bottom deck. I'll find the track, load my track, cue it. We have a sync function like they do it, like you have in Tractor, so I can hit the sync and that will line up my beats. It will line up my tempo and then I can just jog to line up my beats. Again, just to show that how it's working, again I've got a loop, I just use the auto loop on this one set to 8 beats, and punch it in, and you'll see now if I do hit the sensor button or the key lock button, that on this layer everything's green, and the green is respective to deck 2. And again, I can add the effects into it, or I can assign it to effect unit 2. We've got a 3-band total kill EQ, crossfader switcher, cues, analog control over the mix output and the booth output. But basically that's mirrored onto the other side. 4 up faders, so it's basically like playing with a normal mixer with your decks built into the mixer. Got a microphone input on the front, the high-low EQ control. We've got a 20-channel internal sound card. The mix outputs are on RCAs and on balanced outputs. We have a booth output on RCAs. We've got an auxiliary output on RCAs, and we've actually got the Q bus output on RCAs as well. So that means you can take the audio from this Q bus, you can route it into another DX. If 2 of you are working together, you can monitor. Because here, where the excuse me, hello. Basically on the Q, we have this through functionality under the shift mode, where if you look, I'm currently running on this deck. If I hit the through, you'll see the waveform goes grey. That waveform's still playing, but in the background. What you're now hearing through that sound card channel is whatever is on this input. So, on all channels we can have line input.
Yep.
On channels 2 and 3 they can be switched to phono as well, so you can actually run the audio off decks straight
Just
through.
on 2 and 3.
Just on 2 and 3.
Right.
And then 4 is switchable between the line and the microphone input, so you can take your microphone into software as well.
Okay.
So that's how we've utilised the 20 channel sound. It's classic zone build. Vertical circuit boards, everything's nutted through the front panel, there's no pop wobble whatsoever on this unit. Because it's all vertically mounted circuit boards, spillages tend to run off and not collect on the boards, but alternatively, in time, if this needed some level of servicing, because they're individual circuit boards, it's a much easier unit to service. There's 24 circuit boards in this mixer.
That goes with the quality, it's not just one circuit board, if one thing breaks it, it's all broken.
That's the whole point. You can just change one of these inputs, or a channel input, or the connector. It is, like I said, there are 24 different circuit boards on this unit, so it's much easier to service and maintain this unit than it would be for a generic one. Classic aluminium build quality, that weighs about 4.5 kilos. So as much as it is mildly heavy, it's still small enough to fit inside a 19-inch laptop bag, so you can transport it. And obviously you want it robust. If this thing's going to go on the road, you can put it straight into a club, it's got balanced outputs, you need it to be durable. So we've made it using the classic A&H quality.